G'day, it's Jay, and welcome back to Derriere Farms, where today we are going to take an initial look at the free DLC pack from AGI and Giants that was released, 2 weeks ago now? And I'm also going to tell you how you can win an Xbox Series S, plus a copy of Farming Simulator 22, and a Recon headset. So stay tuned. Details on how to win are at the end. Now, I will be making another video, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel and have notifications turned on, because we're going to take an in-depth look at the pack and some of the intricacies. Because there's a lot more to this pack than I initially thought there was from watching some of the other videos. And before anyone says anything, yes, I know I'm a day late and $1 short, but you can thank the power outages for that. And then, you know, the fact that the more I played with the pack, the more I found the pack offered. And it is probably one of the better packs that Giants has offered as a free DLC in terms of in-game functionality. And I will, like I said, we'll go into the in-game functionality in the second video. In this video, we're going to look at what's included, how to download it, and how to win the free Xbox. Because I'm sure everybody would like to win a free Xbox. Even if you already have one, you can give it away and sell it. Or sell it, I should say. So, first, how to download the AGI pack. You can either go to the Giants website, under DLCs, you have to enter your information just like you do for any other DLC, and it will download an executable file, which you just run and it'll install into Farming Simulator 22. If you're on Steam, go to the Farming Simulator 22 DLC section, and you can download and install it directly from Steam. And if you're on a console, you will find it in the DLC section for your particular console. Now don't worry, you don't have to buy it. It is free, even though it's going to be listed as a DLC on the console section. So just go ahead and install it. It's really simple and definitely worthwhile. Once you've got it downloaded and installed, when you're loading a map, make sure you have the checkbox clicked to activate it, just like you would any other DLC for that particular map. And once you load into the game, it should be available to you. Now, the pack itself comes in, I'm going to say, two parts. It comes with a set of structures, as in the shed you're looking at over to the left, and grain bins. So I'm going to call those buildings or facilities. And then it also comes with some vehicles, basically grain loading equipment. And we'll go through those in a minute. So let's take a look in the shop first at let's take a look at the shed, because we'll look at structures first. Now, the shed I thought looked really cool. It's got a working door. The lights work by pressing R or whatever the particular binding is on your particular system. And it's got two side doors. We'll get to those in a minute. And a main door. Now, be careful with this door when you're opening it, because it opens upwards, unlike most other doors. And oops, you can see it lifted us up in the air. And although we can jump up onto the roof if I'm careful, or almost get onto the roof. There we go. You have to drop down to be able to close the door. You can't close the door from the up position. It's got 2 side doors, and I thought this was really cool. I didn't realize the shed was quite so small though. I thought I would be able to back my grain trucks up through this door and have 1 and 2 grain trucks parked side by side, and then use the rest of the shed for, well, other equipment like this Mack truck here, which is a great download. It's the Mack grain pack from Peter Beulah Farms, and I find it really, if you watch Welka Farms, I find it really ties in with the AGI pack, and I'll tell you why when we come to seed production. Next up, the pack comes with the grain dryer. This can be found under silos. And it works pretty much like any of the other silos in the game, except that it's got a massive 5.5 million liter capacity. So on my main farm, I replaced, what did I have? I had this one. And it's only got 2 million. As you can see, it's got a pretty big footprint just like this pack has. But it doesn't hold, it holds 2 million and not 5.5 million. So this is really cool. The grain dryer is just like anything else in the game. Any other silos that come with grain dryers is decorative. There is no difference in the game between grain fresh off the field or dried grain. The game assumes you're harvesting grain at the optimal moisture level, so it's automatically dried, which is kind of unfortunate, and it's hopefully something they will implement in the game down the road. This silo also, well, we'll go into this in more detail as to how to load and unload these silos later on. So this is a great little silo. Back under production facilities, under silos, you will find that there are 3 more grain bins. There's the smooth wall bin, which only holds 76,000 liters. And it says can be used to store your crops. You'll also need an auger or conveyor to fill this silo. We'll go into those in a minute. The next one is the hopper bin. Same thing, used to store your crops. You need an auger or a conveyor to fill it. This one's $24,000 dollars to buy, excuse me. And it holds 125,000 liters. Last but not least, in terms of grain storage facilities, you've got the flat bottom bin. It functions exactly the same way as the Meridian flat bottom bins do. It costs $42,000 and holds 500,000 liters of crops. What I like about this is got a fairly small footprint, just like the Meridian Silos do. So if you need to put additional storage around your farm, even if it's temporary storage, you can quite easily fit it in to a small area. On this farm, I'm planning to, well, I don't really need to because I have this massive facility here, but I was planning to put some down there. So, like I said, a pretty good selection of grain bins. I really do like the footprints on this one. It's allowed me to totally reorganize my yard from having that other great big one that had the truck loading bay stuck out into the middle of my yard. Like I said, the shed I'm a little disappointed with, but overall, the facilities are great. The rest of the pack can be found under vehicles in the shop. So you go to tools, not vehicles, you go to tools and you go to belt systems. And just like any of the other, like the Meridian or the Conveyal that came with the base game, the AGI Westfield augers are found here. The first one, the UTX 44, is $29,000 and can be used to unload your grain silos. This will also work on the Meridian silos, and I'm going to show you that later. Same as the Meridian or Conveyal will work with the AGI pack. The AGI Storm FX can be used to unload your silos. It can also be used to make grain seed or seed. If you've watched Welker Farms, I'm pretty sure this is what they use for their seed treatment. The only thing you need with this one is you go into pallets and you will need to buy a pallet of seed treating liquid. So again, using Welker Farms as an example, that's the red dye that the seed gets coated in for grains. And it basically gives the seed a head start once it's planted in the ground. My point there is it's very realistic. There are a lot of farmers that use their part of their previous crop. They will sort it, sift it, find the best seeds, and then they will treat them and plant them to save on buying seed, because buying seed is very expensive. Next up we have, and this is a mouthful, the STX Squared 10-51. And this is used to fill your silos, and right at the top, very handy, it tells you what it's compatible with. So it's compatible with the smooth wall bin, the AGI West Steel hopper bin 1805. So it's not a very big one, like it doesn't go very high, but it's handy. The nice thing about this one, and we'll look at this in the store, I'm not going to go through everyone in the exact store because the wheel setup and so on is pretty much the same, but this one doesn't have a hopper bin at the bottom and can be used to load. If you have a pile on the ground, you can also use it to load a trailer. So for example, you've dumped your potatoes. I did try it with potatoes, and it will load a trailer full of potatoes that have been dumped on the ground. So it works pretty much the same way as the Lizard S710 with the other conveyor belts, with the Grimmy with this one. I do have a video on how to use the basic conveyor belts, and if you don't know how to use them, it's definitely worth a look. Okay, this one, the next one is the BCX Cubed 1549. This one, again, is used to unload your silos. It doesn't go very high. Now, having said that, there is no reason that you can't use one of the others that are used to fill your silos to unload your silos. I have tried that. It's a little tricky with this one But with this one, the Meridian and the Conveil, they all kind of work. You just have to fiddle. But if you're cheap and you're starting out and you don't want to have to buy two different types of conveyors, that's a way to do it. So that's pretty much this one. They all move at 3 miles an hour, which isn't very fast. Now, here is the mother of all. It is the MKX 13-94. And this one is actually tractor powered. That's why you don't see an engine on it or liters of fuel or anything like that. It's PTO driven from a tractor. So you pull it around with a tractor with a trailer hook, and then you extend that and you can load your silos. This one actually goes quite high and can fill all of the silos that come with the game except for the big mother bin. That one. Obviously, that one is self-filling. So that's a look at what comes with the pack. Now, what I really like about, well, this silo, and I'll show you the other one in a minute, is that this one, as I said, comes with the grain dryer itself and the control unit. It's a lot more detailed than the other grain drying silo. It also comes with several fans. That blow into the silo. Okay, so I'll give you a quick rundown here. The reason you'd have these fans as well as the other ones is to control the moisture inside the silo. So you dry your grain here, it's controlled here. There is also a monitoring system or bin manager on the front of the silo, just like in real life. That monitors the moisture within the silo. Because silos aren't completely airtight, you can get fluctuations in moisture. Secondly, depending on the weather when you harvest your crops, you may actually want to add moisture to your silo. The grain dryer at the front obviously doesn't do that, but if you have a nice humid day and your grain is too dry, and I'll explain that in a second, you would turn these blowers on and blow in the humid air, which will then mix through the silo. Now, for anyone who's a non-farmer, that might sound a little strange, but grains, especially corns and barleys and soybeans, are sold by weight as well as moisture content. So ideally you want grains around 14% moisture content. If you harvest the field and it is, let's say, 12%, it means it has less moisture in it, which the company buying your grain would have absolutely no problem with. But you get paid, like I said, on the weight as well as the quality of your grain. So if you can boost that moisture back up to about 14%, it rehydrates your, I'm going to use soybeans as an example, it rehydrates the soybeans, they expand a little bit more, and they weigh a little bit more. So you get that extra money for weight. So it's a fine balancing act. And I know it's not captured in the game. Like I said, the grain dryer is purely cosmetic. So are the blowers. But for those of you that are serious about farming or want to know more, it's a really nice feature that they included those as part of the silos. We'll take a very quick look because it'll show you how Giants have improved. If you look at the Meridian Silos, which are essentially the same thing, it's just a different company, they would also have either a dry, well, those fans can be used to either dry or to rehydrate, as I said. The Meridian Silos, unfortunately, don't come with them. I guess Giants, when they did the Meridian Silos, weren't overly focused on getting them 100% accurate. I'm just going to hop back to my other part of the farm where I have the Uni Silo. I have two different silo storage facilities on my Let's Play map, just so I'm not hauling grain all over the place all the time. But the Uni Silos don't hold nearly as much, and again, they don't have blowers around the back. They just have the grain drying unit. The reason I stuck with this one instead of going with the Meridian Silos is it's got the grain drying unit on it, which I won't say for roleplay, maybe for roleplay purposes is nice to have. But I definitely prefer the AGI silos over this one, and the AGI silos hold a lot more. Even with this one, if we take a look at it, I've got the Uni 8000, which is 1.8 million liters, and I have a couple of Silo 2 add-ons, so I think I've got 2.8 million liters worth of storage capacity here. Once I've emptied these, I will probably be replacing them with the AGI because the footprint is roughly the same and it can hold a whole bunch more. And I know it's hard to see, but yeah, you can see the footprint is about the same. I don't know, maybe I'll leave them, but that's something for another video. Alright, so that's a look at what comes with the AGI pack. Now, AGI, and I just found this on their website when I was doing some research to see what other equipments or brand names they have. It's not mentioned on the Giants website, or I couldn't find it anywhere on the Giants website. But AGI themselves are giving away an Xbox Series S, as I said, a Recon Headset, and a copy of Farming Simulator 22 for anyone that doesn't have Farming Simulator 22. Even if you already have Farming Simulator 22, the Xbox S is definitely worth entering the competition for because those are in fairly high demand, and even if you're a PC player, I entered. If I win, I'm going to give it away on the channel as part of a contest. But if you guys win, you could probably give it to a friend or even make some money selling it. If you already have, well, if you're watching this, chances are you already have Farming Simulator on one platform or another. The link to AGI's website, or a page where they're giving away the Xbox, can be found in the description below. And all you have to do is just give them your name, email address, let them know whether you are, well, in the agricultural business or whether you are a virtual farmer like most of us are. There is no difference. Everybody stands a chance to win. So I hope you found this first look at the AGI pack useful. Like I said, to me, just the capacity of the grain bins and what they can do is worth it. it just adds that much more realism to the game. The free DLCs they've given out with the other patches were nice, but it didn't add capacity and realism to the game like the AGI pack, in my opinion. So if you found this video useful, like I said, give it a thumbs up and stay tuned for part 2, where we'll actually do a deep dive into the grain bins themselves, because there's a lot more to them than I thought there was. And secondly, we'll look at how the conveyors work and seed production specifically. Seed production might even be a separate video, just because the more I play with it, the more questions I have. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Jay.